Now I'm joined on the phone with American Rob Stiles, who is in Kathmandu right now with his wife. So, Rob, tell me about exactly where you are, what you have experienced.
Okay, right now we're in Kathmandu. We're near the Tamil area, which is sort of like the big tourist area, and it's been quite a day so far. Currently, we're in some sort of field at some sort of government building. We're here with a lot of travelers as well as locals. Everybody's just sort of waiting out the night here in an open space, kind of away from all the buildings here in Kathmandu. They're like all brick, very old and very sort of brittle.
So when the earthquake hit, exactly where were you, and how worried about your safety? How did you try to keep yourself safe?
Well, my wife and I actually had got to our hotel room. We had to change guest houses. We checked in. We put our bags in our room. We were going to grab a camera so we could go out and take some photographs of Kathmandu, which is already a very, an eye-opening city. And right as we were literally walking out the door, things started to shake. And we're both from California, and we knew immediately that what was happening. We jumped in the doorway and just sort of hung on to each other. And then some other travelers started coming out of the rooms like, what's going on, what's going on? And we were just shouting at everyone, stay in the doorway, stay in the doorway. And I looked down the hallway, and there were people running out of the guest house, and the ground literally was like tossing these people. Wow. And then just literally across the alley, there was like an 8-foot-high brick wall, and about a 60-meter section of it just toppled over, crushing motorcycles and a car and everything. And it felt like it went on forever. But as soon as things sort of settled down, we came outside. We looked down the alleyway where this wall had come down. There were several Nepalese construction workers just racing down the alleyway trying to get away from these construction sites. We went outside, and we just everyone sort of gathered together on the main street, sort of away from all the buildings. And once we got out to the main street, we could see that several power lines had come down. One had smashed and fallen on top of a car. Another one was laying in the street. Everyone stayed there in the first, 10, 15, 20 minutes. There must have been 3 or 4 aftershocks that were pretty sizable. And every time one popped up, people were screaming and looking around. There were lots of people clearly shaken, upset, crying. We stayed in that area for about 45 minutes, and then we just started kind of walking through the city. And as we went through the city, every intersection we hit, every place we hit, there were very large, sections of buildings. Everything in Kathmandu is made of brick, it seems like. And large sections had come off these buildings, and were people, and by this time we had made it down, there was some military and some law enforcement. People were trying to move rubble and get people out from underneath these collapsed portions of the building.
So people are using their bare hands, aren't they, to try to, rescue anyone? Are you seeing any signs, and I realize it's 10:30 at night there, any signs of any more sophisticated equipment that is being used to help move rubble, try to rescue people?
We went to the Darhara, now pardon me if I'm mispronouncing that, Darhara Tower, which is a big landmark here. And that was an area that's very heavily populated with tourists during the day, and that actually collapsed and fell over. And we went down to that area, and they just had one basic earth mover moving some rubble and stuff, and that was around 6:30 local time, and they were still clearing rubble. And just in about 30 minutes that we were there before authorities cleared the area, they pulled 2 bodies out on stretchers. And they were continuing to do that. But for the most part, that's the only real area where we've seen any heavy equipment being used. Otherwise, it's just, people using their hands and doing what they can.
Oh, my goodness. And 10:30 at night there, clearly earthquake of this magnitude. There's no power. There isn't running water in places. So with people still trying to help one another, what are they doing for light? If many people are standing outside or still in the main street, how are they illuminating? What do you?
I'm standing in darkness across. I think for some reason I can't be sure where I'm at. some sort of government building, and across the street there's another government building. I can hear generators running in the areas that we were just as it turned into dusk over by the Dahara Tower. They were authorities were bringing in some generators, but not very many, like one, just to get like a big floodlight going. Otherwise, the city is pretty much dark. And from what we can tell, just walking around and being on the streets and stuff, a lot of people have just been directed to go to these open fields. And there's a national stadium that's, I don't know, I would guess, 600 or 700 yards long of just a wide open field. And I think a lot of people are spending the night there.
Wow. And I realize you just got there. I mean, you described how you put your bags in your room and, you and your wife were, when the tremors start, when the earthquakes start, you're standing in the doorway. You know that instinctively because of your experience as a Californian. But now what? And I realize it's all just happened. But now what? Where are you going to stay? What are you going to do?
Well, we sort of opted to stay here tonight in this open area because we weren't 100% keen on the idea of staying in the area. I mean, the buildings are packed so closely together here, I don't know. It just wasn't a good idea. So for us, I mean, a million things have run through our head. We've been traveling for a while now, and we're always trying to make the most of our time, but we're not quite sure. We thought maybe we'll go to a different area, maybe of Nepal that is not so affected. We also thought maybe we'll just walk over to the embassy in the morning and see if there's anything we can do to help, try to hook up with the Red Cross or something. I mean, since we're here and able-bodied, we're thinking that maybe that's just the best thing to do. Oh,
that's so generous. All right, Rob Stiles, keep in touch with us if you could, and all the best to you and your wife. Continue to be safe, and of course, we're wishing the best for everyone who is there and having to endure this devastation. Thanks so much, Rob.